Though you may not drive a great train. Okay, you guys, welcome. It is November 11th, 2020, and my name is Donovan Sadiq. You are now listening to Unapologetic, the podcast. A lot of stuff's going on this week, as you guys know. President Donald Trump has been fired out of his job as president. And right now, if you want to believe it or not, he is negotiating to concede the election. And he's negotiating for immunity from prosecution. A lot of people don't want to believe that, but that's what's happening here, because that's the card that he has to play. So I'm going to get to that in a little bit, but I just wanted to say that now that Donald Trump is out and we've replaced one bigot with another bigot, what do we do now? What's the plan now? Now he's out. What's going to change for black people? You know, and don't get me wrong. Now, you guys that voted Democrat, you know, there's no difference between a white supremacist Democrat or a white supremacist Republican. White supremacy's premise is to be on top. So right now, you guys are dancing in the streets like the jigaboos you are, and, you know, just doing the most when you are 12 years away from being a slave. You're not looking down the road. You're not concerned about what's going to be happening with this country. We're going to hold him accountable once he gets in office. How do you do that? Seriously and literally. How do you hold somebody accountable in office once they have achieved the power? Have we not been trying to get Donald Trump out for all these 4 years? I mean, I'm just asking a question. All of a sudden, you guys are going to make them accountable. What? Make him accountable to what? He didn't promise you anything. So what are you going to make him accountable to? Because remember, you just wanted to get Trump out. I mean, am I wrong? So, you guys are out there and you're spiking the ball. You're doing your football dance in the end zone. And you guys, hey, more power to you. That doesn't change the fact that you ain't getting shit. But non-citizens are getting something. DACA and Dreamers are getting something. He said day one, the very people that can't even freaking vote for him. The very people that can't even deliver votes for him. They're going to get something for doing absolutely nothing. But it was your vote that got this man the presidency. And you Negroes are out there dancing in the streets. It's just a damn shame. So I get a lot of messages and everybody's, oh, well, we told you and ha ha ha. And, and that's great. You know what? You could do whatever you want to do. It doesn't change your status. All you people out there that are spiking the ball right now, I would almost guarantee you're in financial stress when all this is said and done. So, enjoy it, because the shit's going to get real in a couple of months. And we're going to see what your boy is going to do in those couple of months. Okay? And then that's when I'm going to spike the ball and let you guys know. Because after 4 years of Trump, nothing changed for us from 8 years of Obama. So I just don't see the parallel in being happy. Being happy about what? We're still at the bottom of the economic ladder. This man didn't promise you anything. And don't forget, he told Ice Cube, we'll look at your plan after the election. The election is over. We'll see if he's going to get to that and if he's going to do anything about it. But you got to remember, he didn't promise you anything. So why would you think he would give a shit you to hold him accountable to what? To what? You didn't ask for nothing? You didn't get anything. And that's where we're at. But you guys go ahead and dance in the street and, spike the ball and do your funky chicken and all that other good stuff because white supremacy is laughing at you. Because no matter which person you voted for, black people, we still lose. So the election is pretty much parallel and it's a mirror of 2016. Oh, and by the way, I got the shit kicked out of me. For those of you guys that want to know, my cat kicked the shit out of me. Tylen, it was his vet visit, and it was a mess getting him there. I mean, he's a tough guy when he's running around the house and everything, but when it's time to go to that vet, man, he's nothing compared to my other cat, Misty. Misty beats me up even when I'm in the car as she's trying to escape because for some reason, she realizes that she's going somewhere, most likely the vet, because that's usually the only time I really grab her and take her anywhere. And she realizes that you have to disable me to stop the car. So she will fight me all the way. I'm talking about like attack me to the vet. So it was an interesting day, and but I got it done. The bottom line is I got it done. So now President-elect Biden has been elected, and I called this yesterday on the 6th because they already knew, the numbers already showed that Trump had lost. The reason why the major networks delayed and Donald Trump refused to concede is a lot of Trumpsters were freaking upset. Now, there's something wrong when people who so-called believe in patriotism and they want to dog out Colin Kaepernick for taking a knee, but they say, oh, he's disrespecting the flag and the Constitution and, what this country stands for. But yet you want to stop legitimate voting? And then every time my Trumpster friends keep telling me, oh, it was fraudulent voting and da-da-da. My question is this, and I always ask them, where's your proof? How do you know? How are you standing here in front of me knowing that there's fraudulent voting going on in Philadelphia and we're right here in California? How do you know that? But yet, all of these claims in all of these precincts across the nation have been thrown out by judges because you just can't go there without evidence to back up your accusation. Where's the proof? You even got Chris Christie, a diehard right-winger and an ex-attorney, state federal prosecutor, saying the same thing. Where's the evidence? And so President Trump said come Monday, he's going to bring out whatever he's going to bring out and, whatever. But that isn't what's going on, you guys. What's going on is he is right now negotiating his exit from the White House. Because have you guys forgotten? He is a co-conspirator with Michael Cohen. Have you guys forgotten that a lot of the Trump entities and lawsuits that have come up against Trump, the grab him by the pussy guy and the sexual assault stuff, that has been put on hold because of his presidential position, even though there's no law that says you can't prosecute a president. But the Justice Department does not want to move forward based on that memo that says that, you shouldn't do it while he's in office. So now that he's lost, Donald Trump, that veil of immunity has now going to be lifted. So what Trump is doing is he's using his Trump card, pun intended, to negotiate prosecution from immunity. Oh, no, Donovan, that's not what's going on. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You got to remember, um, Donald Trump's presidency has exposed the mere fact that we are a no better than a banana republic. Okay? But we know we're a banana republic. At least those of us that are awake know that we're a banana republic. You guys, a lot of you guys listening to me right now, you don't know that because you don't want to know. Your blinders are on. So I will bet you $1 to a donut. Joe Biden, who has laid the groundwork in the last 3 weeks, he has kept saying, we have to bring the country together. We have to bring the country together. Okay? And by bringing the country together, he is going to do what Nixon and Gerald Ford did in the 70s. And Nixon didn't do 90% of what this man has done. He is going to get a full pardon from immunity. But you Negroes are too busy dancing in the frickin' street to think the next logical step of what is happening. Even though a majority of us want him to be prosecuted. But here's the funny thing. My white liberal friends, my white supremacist Democrats, they said, oh, they're already talking. It's just better to let him go and move the country forward. They want to preserve white supremacy. They would rather let this man go for his crimes because, number one, it would set a precedent. It would set a precedent and show that we are a banana republic because, think about this. If the next president bombed a bunch of countries, which we do anyway, or they do a lot of malfeasance, because let's say there is some truth to the Hunter Biden story and some of the shit that Joe Biden has done in his 47 plus years of public service. There are some crimes involved in there. Wouldn't that open him up to be prosecuted by his successor? They don't want that to happen because then this so-called great democracy would start crumbling. And we would show the world the fraud that the United States has become. We were once a great country. Not for black people. You know, that never happened. We haven't seen that day yet. However, that is the grand bargain that they are going to make for him to concede peacefully. And Trump is holding that card, and he's negotiating that right now. That's common sense. Use your common sense on that. Is that feasible? Is that something that they would do? They did it for Nixon, and he just basically eavesdropped and broke into the Democratic DNC, National Center. And even the Republican leadership under Barry Goldwater walked in and told him it was time for him to go. They told him, you got to go, bruh. That's it. It's a wrap. Don't worry, though. We're going to take care of you. Don't worry. Don't worry. You know, you're not going to go to prison. Don't worry about it. And they say that that is one of the main reasons Gerald Ford did not win re-election. And by the way, for those of you guys that don't read history, Gerald Ford is the only president never to be elected by the people. Oh, Donovan, you don't know what you're talking about. There's been plenty of vice presidents that became president. Even Nixon himself was a vice president that became president. Was not Nixon on the Eisenhower ticket? So he was elected. Gerald Ford was never on the Nixon ticket. It was Spiro Agnew. Once Spiro Agnew resigned in disgrace and was about to be prosecuted, and he gave in a grand bargain, did not do a day of jail time. Power does not prosecute power. Rich, they don't do it. Okay? He resigned in disgrace. Gerald Ford was appointed by Richard Nixon as the successor with the approval of the Senate. So he was never elected by the people. He was never on a ticket. But yet he served 2.5, 3 years as president of the United States and was never elected and did not win re-election. Isn't that something? Wow, if we would just read more. But this is what's going on right now. So if you look at the election and you look at it for its pure context, and this is what I've been saying, Demetra K has been saying. And by the way, you guys can check out Demetra K on Sundays at 3 p.m. We have some good talking topics there and stuff like that. And then we have Free Flow Friday, which we do on Friday as well. And you can catch Demetra and myself. We are on the War Zone Monday through Friday. You can catch us there with the 5-Star General, and we be talking the business, if you know what I mean. So if you look at the election is exactly the flip of 2016. Okay? This country, being mostly white people, everybody but blacks, is 50-50. Well, you got to include blacks in there. Black people overwhelmingly give their vote to the Democratic Party by almost 80 to 90%. So by that margin, there's no point in including them on the Republican side. They overwhelmingly vote Democrat, and they continually do that and get nothing for their vote. And they won't get nothing for their vote this time. So, yeah, it's going to be some interesting times here. What would you do if Joe Biden pardons Donald Trump? What could you do about it? You're going to hold them accountable. What could you do about it? Did you guys not think about this stuff? Did you not think about it? Does Donald Trump need to leave? Yes, absolutely. However, when you're at the bottom of the economic... Do you know what's funny? A lot of black people basically don't even realize we are in a recession right now. Borderline depression, recession, economically. But see, when you're on the bottom of the economic scale, you really don't have nothing to lose because you don't have much to begin with. Now, when you're at the top of the economic scale, or you got some stuff, you have more to lose. So you're more panicked. I still see black people partying, going to their family's birthday party, getting big screen TVs off stimulus checks. We didn't do anything different than what we did if there was no pandemic going on. And Donald Trump is never mentioned other than the stupid shit that he says or he tweets. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed one bit. But what are you going to do if Joe Biden pardons Donald Trump? All you baby boomers out there, how are you going to hold this man accountable? We going to protest. We going to get out there and protest. 60 years of protesting, and look where we're at right now. That lying liberal haven't moved the ball one freaking iota. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating because I get tired of piss poor leadership and then ignorant black people who cannot articulate why they are Democrats. Whenever I ask that very simple question, I don't know why I'm a Democrat. My mama was a Democrat. I've always been a Democrat. That's fine. That's fine. You can always be a Democrat. But why are you voting for Joe Biden? I'm just tired of Donald Trump. Okay, but what's going to change for you? Nothing. Yeah. That's the problem. That's the problem. We never gonna get reparations, so what the difference is? Did not California a month and a half ago, almost 2 months ago, sign in a reparations bill signed by the governor of California? California is the fifth biggest economy in the world. In the world. So what California does, eventually the rest of the nation does. Eventually. It depends on how many people get out there and do the work. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about, Donovan. Gay marriage. Where did that initially start? What state did that initially start from? Oh, that's right. That was California. Now you have gay marriage across the nation. Oh, legalizing marijuana. Where did that initially start from? Where did it get its big boost? California. Oh, it was on the ballot this election cycle on almost every state. Marijuana is now legalized in almost every state. What California does, the other countries usually follow suit. The only bad thing about California is that it's highly taxed by Democrats, and it's a business killer. It's a freaking business killer. So, I'm one of a person that when a new administration comes in, I didn't vote for Biden. I didn't vote for Trump. I voted Green Party because, they have reparations in it. They have universal health care. And again, I have asked this question for over 3 or 4 months. Can somebody please explain to me why does not California have universal health care? We have a super duper majority in the state of California by Democrats. And we don't have universal health care, but yet Democrats say that they're for universal health care. Nobody seems to be able to answer that question. But we're going to get DACA done. We're going to get Dreamers done. We got to rebuild the middle class. Isn't that what Joe Biden said? First thing he's going to do. Everything he wants to do is for his people, corporate Democrats. Not one progressive policy on his platform. We got to deal with the virus. Yes, the virus is a very serious thing. We need to take it a little bit more seriously. And again, any administration that comes in, I say, let's give him a shot. Let's see what he's going to do. I gave Donald Trump a shot. Better than Hillary. Way better than Hillary. But you have a Hillary sycophant in Kamala Harris. And I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in Maryland who doesn't know the history of Kamala Harris. And it seems like every time I talk to somebody who doesn't live in California, they are so misinformed about the history of Kamala Harris. I'm ADOS, American descendant of slave, African descendant of slaves. Okay? My people have been here since the inception of this country. And yet, this woman is a first-generation immigrant. First generation removed, and she is the vice president of the United States. And by the way, black when it's convenient to be black. So, I shouldn't be mad at that. Barack Obama, who isn't ADOS, has no ADOS lineage, became the president of the United States. So in all the time of this country's existence, there has yet to be an ADOS president or vice president. And I shouldn't have to worry about that, right? Had another friend argue with me about why I come so hard on the Democrats. I come so hard for them. But we're in an election cycle. Why isn't anybody ever talking about the 3.5 years I just roasted Donald Trump for all his bullshit? Nobody ever talks about that. Look at the record. Go back and look at some of the shows on YouTube. Look at the podcasts. Nobody talks about that. But you be black and talk against the Democratic Party? Oh my God. How dare you? But yet, I'm more informed than you. You're an uninformed, ignorant voter, and you're telling me how I should vote, and you don't know the history of your nominees. But I'm the one that should listen to you and how I should vote. I don't give a shit how you vote. Vote your interests, vote your wallet, vote your pocketbooks, vote your family. That's what you should be voting for. You shouldn't be dedicating your vote to one party because neither of these parties deserve it. And they haven't earned it. So I can sit there and argue with you all day. But that would be like talking astrophysics to a wino. Just a waste of time. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's politics is a very, very interesting thing if if you're into it. Now, like I explained to a lot of people, it isn't like I woke up one day and I said, you know what, I'm just going to be talking about politics. A lot of you guys that know me and have grown up with me, or that have known me in my adult life, know that I got into politics when I retired from the military because my city had the largest FBI bribe in history, and it still does, of a public official. Not only did I get involved in politics, I ran for office and I saw how the Democratic and the Republican parties worked. They pick and choose who runs and who doesn't run. There's no difference between these parties. They use the exact same tactics. You could be the greatest candidate with the greatest of intentions. They don't give a shit. The first thing that they want to see is how much money can you raise for the Democratic Party, for the Republican Party. And that's the game. That's the game from the get-go. Oh, Donovan, how can you say this? Oh my God. It's just the truth. And especially black people, we don't like to hear the truth unless a white man's telling us. But from another black man, oh my God, how dare you? Oh, where you going to get a better house than you get here? Malcolm X warned us about Negroes like that. He warned us, but we didn't listen. So, yeah, let's see what he's going to do. Okay? But I want you guys to remember it. Don't forget this, damn it. This is what a lot of us have been telling you. Joe Biden didn't promise you a damn thing. So how are you going to make him accountable for what? What are you going to make him accountable for? Well, I voted for you and you should be doing this. You didn't tell him to do it. You can't obligate somebody for something that they didn't agree to. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. But hey, I also want to talk to you guys about a new show that I'm producing. And it's a show that I think is going to be, it's really needed because, this system that we live in is just spiraling, totally in the toilet type shit. And excuse my language, but, I don't usually curse as much, especially when Demetria, but this is unapologetic. So it's a little bit more unfiltered. And I love the fact that people keep telling me how to run the show, and I love the feedback, I love the criticism, but you got to understand, when I started podcasting and doing stuff, I remember when people were laughing at me because I was doing it out of my garage and I was doing it using the Microsoft Movie Maker. I think it was in Windows XP. It came with the system. And nobody was watching. I mean, nobody was watching. Everybody thought it was a joke. People that did watch it, they were like, what's he doing? Oh my God, this guy's, he's just out there talking and ranting and raving. And I kept doing it. And I just kept doing it because it was kind of therapeutic as well. And slowly but surely, the show grew and they grew and they grew. And I'm going to give anybody advice that listens. If you're going to do a podcast or a video cast, the thing that you have to do is be consistent with it. You have to be consistent. Because if I liked your show and you come on every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, that is what I'm tuning into. And like I tell you guys here, all of my podcasts are archived. So you can go and check it out and, go back and use my words against me. So in the city that I live in, we did an assessment of candidates, and I live in District 1, and there was a candidate who was a former bank robber that we found out, and she got bounced out of the seat. And when I mean bounced out of the seat was, if people knew she was a bank robber at the time of the recall, because I ran against her in the recall election. So the sitting councilman, the question was this: do you think the city councilman, the sitting Sitting, needs to be recalled? Okay. So I noticed that nobody else was running against her. And I said, well, hey, let me throw my hat in the area. I've got a clean record. I'm good. I'm in the military. Been here since before the city. So I'm kind of an elder in my city. I predate the city because, there's nothing out here but the Air Force Base when I was a little kid. And so I put my name in the hat. And it was just me and her. See, she thought that she was going to get the seat unopposed, but then I ran against her. And think about this. If people had known that she was a bank robber and that had come out, I would have been the city council member. But nobody knew, okay, until 2 years later. And the funny thing is, I lost that election, but that's when I really found out what politics was about and what was going on and stuff. So the question was, if the sitting council member should be recalled. If you agree, you vote to either recall her or keep her in seat. Okay, so it's either yes or no. That's your voting there. Now, if enough votes say that, either way, it says that no, then they say, who do you want to replace her? And then you would vote for me or the other council member or the other candidate. And a lot of people didn't know who I was or whatever. It's a popularity contest or whatever, it's just crazy. So anyway, she wins on the popularity contest. Then it comes out 2 years later that she was a bank robber. Okay. She recently ran in this election for a 4-year term. Okay. Because when it was found out that she was a bank robber, they got rid of her off the dais. So she decides to run again in this cycle. And oh my God, it was a terrible campaign. Her campaign was terrible. And, for some reason, because of my show, I have garnered a following to where people do listen to what I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying I influence people. I don't tell people how to vote. I just put the facts out there. And I don't just rant and rave. In some cases, I go get documents and I put documents on your ass. Public documents that you can get. So that's the difference between me and a lot of other podcasts, right? Right. So she decides to run, and I still don't know what kind of larceny or whatever crime she did. It's kind of vague. She seems like she doesn't want to talk about it. But when initially the paperwork came out, it was very embarrassing for her family. There was a lot of domestic violence involved in it and stuff like that. So I get a bunch of messages because she lost this election. So all of her friends sending me messages and were calling me because my number's public, and it's because of you that the best candidate lost. Now I backed a guy named Dwayne Lewis, and I said yes, Dwayne Lewis did lose, but it wasn't because of my rhetoric. I tried to help. But a lot of candidates, for some reason, are terrified to come on my show. But a lot of them know that they need the exposure, and they will come. And so some of them come on the show, and I give them the exposure and stuff, and it's really good. And they really find out that it's not as bad as it is, because my show is known as the hot seat. When you're a politician, it's the hot seat. It's not the Donovan Sadiq show. It's not unapologetic. It's the hot seat, because I'm going to ask you real questions. There's nothing softball here. And a couple candidates did really, really well. But when you're going against major millions of dollars of money, developer money, and stuff like that, it's hard to win as a candidate. So it's just amazing how people feel that you have that influence and you're the reason why certain candidates don't get elected or they get highlighted, okay? And I didn't highlight this lady at all. All I said was, hey, this allegation is going to come out. What is the story? Because if you're a good politician or if you're a good political person like myself who has experience, it ain't like I just woke up, I ran in political office and stuff. If there is a negative allegation against you, you don't run from it. You run to it. You embrace it. Yes, I stole $1 million and I went to prison for 9 years. I made a mistake. I have grown from that mistake. And then you let the voters decide. You don't just play this hobnob game of BS, BS, BS. Let's let the chips fall where it lies. But see, I was telling people there is more to this woman than wanting to be a council member. And what it is it's access to power. Because the woman's retired. She's a lot older lady. She thinks that because she's been in the community for 30 years doing all this volunteer work that people give a shit. They don't. I think what she was hoping was the fact that a lot of people in the last 4 years have been gentrified out of LA and have come on into my city, and they would vote, because they don't know her past. They don't know. Again, the most dangerous citizen in the United States is the uninformed voter. And if it wasn't for podcasts like the War Zone, the Demetra K Show, Free Flow Fridays, a lot of people would still be asleep. But I want you guys to know this. In these next 4 years, if Joe Biden does not produce anything, which he doesn't have to do, by the way, let me put that in there. He doesn't have to produce a goddamn thing, okay? Because you didn't ask for nothing, okay? But let's say he doesn't do it. The very people who vote blue no matter who, there's a lot of people that were like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but right now we just got to get Trump out. They're not going to have it. They're not going to have it. You may see a Republican or a Republican president come back, or a mass exodus of black people from the Democratic Party to independence. These bastard parties need to earn our vote. We are the deciding factor in these elections. Why do you think that they pander to the blacks so much? They pander so much, but they don't give anything. And you guys are cool with it. You're cool with it. I can't tell you, and I want to thank a lot of people out there that reach out to us and tell us thank you for the financial advice. Thank you for opening our eyes. I never thought about that. Oh my gosh, I'm still going to vote for Democrat, but and that's cool, because that's the start. You got to crawl before you walk. I'm a recovering Democrat myself. What's a recovering Democrat? That's like a recovering alcoholic. The recovering alcoholic knows alcohol is bad for them, so they try to stay away from it. They want the alcohol, but they know it's bad for them, so they stay away from it. It's the same thing as a recovering Democrat. I want to cheer and be a Democrat, and work with the Democrats. I do because I was a Democrat for years because I was just a Democrat. I didn't know. So it's hard to stop that addiction. But I had to, because the Democratic Party is not good for me. It's not good for my family. It isn't. In 60 years, please tell me what the Democratic Party has done for you. I check my email box. I check my messages all the time. And all you Negroes out there that think you know something, you can't say anything. You keep going to the anecdotes of back in the 60s. I said in 60 years. What have they done since the Civil Rights era? And even in the Civil Rights era, the Democrats were against integration. They were the ones fighting against Martin Luther King. So what are you talking about? Yeah, it's interesting. So before we go, I'm going to be producing another show, and I like producing shows. That's what I do. It's called The Grown Ass Black Woman's Show, and I think it's going to be a very needed show. It talks about a lot of things going on with young black girls, black women, a lot of experiences. It's going to be uncensored. It's going to be unfiltered. Got a good friend of mine that she wanted to start the podcast, and she came to me and said, "Hey, Donovan, could you help me do this?" And I said, "Oh, absolutely. No problem." So we're going to get ready to launch that. We haven't got a launch date, but I'm going to be hashtagging that for you guys and putting it out there. And when it launches, it's going to launch, and it's going to be great. And it's going to be a podcast for right now, because you know how y'all sisters be. Y'all want to get y'all stuff right before y'all get in front of the videos and all that other good stuff. You want to make sure everything's good, all that other stuff. So we're working on her logos right now. We're setting up the show, and I want you guys to really enjoy it. So it's another Donovan Sadiq produced podcast. I'm a producer on the Demetra K show, and you guys know that show is on fire. I'm a contributing producer on the War Zone with Jerry Wayne Monroe, and hopefully I'm going to be being a contributing person as well on another podcast that they're starting down there in Houston. So that's going to be great. But I want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine. I got a lot of you guys. I know I don't shout you guys out enough. Quintessentially Ebony, good friend of mine. Oh man, this young lady is so genuine. We have a lot in common. Traveler, and the funny thing is, she's like me. She travels, but she's afraid. Now, I'm not afraid to travel, but can you guys believe this? I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of heights. They're like, well, how are you a pilot? Because I'm in a big airplane, so it isn't like I'm in a fighter and I'm just kind of, looping and I see the world. But even if I did, I love doing that. But I am literally afraid of heights, and I'm claustrophobic. I don't like my hands being, tied and stuff like that. So, but she travels around a lot, and she's such a good-spirited person, and it's very unique when you meet somebody that is genuine. She's herself, and she's very bubbly, and she's very positive. So I just want to give a shout out to her, and of course my good partner Demetra K. And here's the funny thing about Demetra K and I: known each other since high school, been together. We've known each other since high school, so that's over 30 years. But we've been doing this show for over 4 years. That's a relationship. Okay, now Demetra recently relocated with executive producer Al Jackson. That's her man, her fiance. And I was at the doctor the other day doing my checkup, and they're like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, why? They go, you kind of seem like you're in a fog. And I told him what was going on, and he told me that I'm in a depression. I said, what? I'm depressed? I don't feel depressed. He goes, no. He goes, because your friend is gone, it's like a relationship. It's almost like a divorce. It's like, not that I don't see her anymore, but, we're not going to be in the studio together anymore. We're not, she's not going to stop by the house anymore. It's just, we're still going to see each other from time to time. We're going to do the show via Zoom or whatever we do it. But it's just weird how things are like that, But, and I thought about it. He's right. That is like a relationship. It's like, we're not going to be together anymore. It's, we got to move on to bigger and better things. So, yeah. So, maybe I need to get another partner like Regis Philbin. Remember, he would just keep changing partners, or Kathy Lee. And what's that one show Today or something with that one chick that she keeps getting, like Michael Strahan and stuff. You keep getting, other co-hosts with you. Maybe I need to find another co-host. I don't know. But yeah, you guys, I've seen stranger things, Let's give the Biden administration a chance and see what they're going to do. But how do you hold somebody accountable once they've got the power? Just don't forget, Donald Trump is negotiating an immunity clause right now because they want a peaceful transition.
Though you may not drive a big car.
It's unapologetic. Donovan Sadiq. November 6th.
Against the white wall. TV antennas in the back.
It's still a very serious thing, and they say it's going to get a lot.
You